it's the Frog Queen here, and I'm doing another review. This one is not a comic book, but a manga. Boom, boom. Junji Ito just recently released his latest story, graphic novel, manga. Well, what do you call it? It's manga. It's just in tiny book form, like all manga. Anyway, this is The Dissolving Classroom. Junji Ito, by now you must know, is one of probably my very, very favorite manga artist, writer. He hasn't been putting out a whole lot of content. It's usually, in North America, we usually get one a year, and then sometimes we'll get an older repressing or reprinting of something that used to be available in North America, but then went out of print because they usually don't print that much. Anyways, he's getting more and more popular in North America, so we are getting more of his work. I recently got the Tomy collection hardcover, which came out not that long ago, and the special edition, which you could probably see behind me, top shelf, where my thumb is, Uzumaki. They've been doing that collection for a little bit now, so once every 2 years, they'll put out another big chunk of his anthologies. Tomy was great. I wrote a review about it on my blog, so thefrogqueen.com. Check that out. If you are tired of me not uploading videos regularly, there are tons of reviews on the website. For now, I'm going to talk about The Dissolving Classroom. This came out the end of January, so I've been meaning to review it for a while. I'm terribly sorry. I just moved. This is the only spot in my new place that I can have on camera right now. I'm a comic book junkie. I got the comics set up before I unpacked my clothes. Anyway, The Dissolving Classroom is an interesting title, and I actually thought at first maybe it was an homage to The Drifting Classroom behind me. Kazuo Umezu is one of the greatest probably horror manga artists in Japan. They actually have an award specifically for new manga artists, which Junji Ito won for his Tomy collection. His first Tomy short story actually won him the Umezu Award. And that's what basically gave him all the notoriety he needed. His career skyrocketed after that. He was a dental assistant beforehand, and he drew manga by night. Now, of course, he's a famous manga artist in Japan. The Dissolving Classroom is actually very different from The Drifting Classroom. It's actually about this young man here who has a crazy sister and that they are cursed. His sister basically likes to eat brains. She is apparently cursed as a child. And how does she eat the brains? Well, she basically eats the goo, these dissolving people. And why do they dissolve? Well, they dissolve because her brother apologizes for all the nasty things that his sister does. And his sister does really silly things like scare other children, bite them or lick them, and just be generally creepy. So the brother goes around apologizing, but he goes around apologizing profusely to everyone over every little thing. And apparently, if one person or too many people listen to his apologies repeatedly, they will start to dissolve. Their brain starts to dissolve inside. They start to seep out their heads, their ears, their eyes, everything. And then his sister goes and eats them. Great, eh? So it's more like Tomy in that it's a collection of short stories that sort of sync together in the end. But they can also be read independently of each other. Most of his work has been serialized in manga magazines, so each story can be read independently. Junji Ito is, of course, famous for body gore, which is why I love him so much. As you can see, here's some photos, illustrations rather. This particular story centers around a young girl who progressively gets more ugly when she thinks she's actually getting more beautiful. She is somebody who is actually dating the brother, the crazy, creepy brother. I'll show you a few more. So a lot of people have been saying over the years that Junji Ito has lost his touch, that he's just not creepy anymore, that his stories aren't as effective as his earlier books like Uzumaki, Tomi, etc. I don't agree completely with this. There is a certain disconnect to a certain point. Junji Ito has always been full of themes and patterns. He basically writes about people who think they're going crazy when they see crazy horrors unravel around them. They feel like everyone else is insane, and they are completely sane. And when they try to appeal to everyone around them, they're told that they're crazy. So there's like this gaslighting going on, which makes the circumstances all the more horrific. He also plays on paranoia, mass hysteria, all those kinds of things. Those are all themes. If you're interested in a lot of his earlier work, I of course have tons and tons of coverage on my website, thefrogqueen.com. So you can check those out. Just use the search to search for Junji Ito, and they should all come up. They're all tagged. This book was rather cheap, $13.95 Canadian, which is a steal for manga. Some manga can be very expensive. I've paid upwards of $18 for a book this size from Dark Horse. I remember when I was collecting this particular series called Eden, The Endless World, I was spending upwards of $19 for one volume in a set of books. Like there's like 20 volumes or something. Like that's not a reasonable price to pay. $13.95 I can deal with. In the end, I really like this book. Junji's still my favorite. Going to always collect his books regardless. And this is the first one I've read in a while that's actually been more of a throwback to his earlier works. The last book he released before this was called Junji Ito's Cat Diary, which was actually more of a kind of autobiography about his own personal paranoia and struggle in dealing with his girlfriend's cats. He was not a cat person. By the end of the book, he becomes a cat person. It's really cute, really sweet, not exactly horror. It's more of a satire, like comedy, actually, more comedy. But it does play on the typical paranoia. As the whole book, he thinks that his girlfriend's cats are trying to kill them, which I was talking to James Harvey. If you watch that interview video, we talk a bit about mind control and cats. Anyway, that's it for me on this particular book. You can get it on Amazon. I would suggest getting it right away. They don't stay in print very long. They don't print a whole lot of Junji's books, unfortunately. So you get it while it's out. That gives you a few months, generally, way less than a year. And then you can't get them anymore. So I would buy it soon if you're a fan, or if you just want to try it out, check it out now. And until next time, read something good.